Hi everyone. I hope you had a good first session. So this is our start of our programming journey. This is going to be a short recap of everything that we covered on day one. Now, Python is not a new programming language. It has been around since 1991. Now, the reasons we must learn it today, sitting in 2025, is number one, it is a part of Microsoft Excel now on Microsoft 365. And as we saw in the session, all of you have it. It is also the default backend of both ChatGPT and Gemini. So if you have the paid version and you upload an Excel, ask it to analyze it, visualize it, build a machine learning model, it will use Python. And also 2025 is the year of no code. You don't really have to learn how to code. You just have to learn how to prompt in English, prompt engineering. We will be working on Google Colab that looks like this. It is a free Google platform. It is connected through your Gmail account, and all the files are saved on your Google Drive. The Colab stands for Co-Laboratory. If you remember, we can upload files in it, but we haven't covered that topic yet. We'll be doing that in the subsequent sessions. So the first thing I do is I go to Google Colab, I sign in, and in file, we can create a new notebook. Now remember that all notebooks that you have created get saved on your Google Drive account in a different folder. Now when Google Colab opens for the first time, this is running Python on the cloud, which means that we don't have to locally install anything on our computer. There is no IT requirement because everything is running on the cloud. On the right corner, you will see that there is a connect button, which means that we are actually connecting to the online server. That means we are not running anything on our computer. Everything is running on Google's computer. Once it is connected, we have two options. We have code and we have text. Code is where you write the code, and text is if you just want to give a comment on something that you have done. You can also change the file name. So I'm just going to call it 13th July as an example. The file extension is IPYNB, which is Interactive Python Notebook. I have also mentioned here, which means that it is a Python file, just like a Word document or a Excel file, and it's interactive. That means you can run the code, also add images and text on top of it. And obviously, it's an independent file. So once you have created your IPYNB, you can simply download it, send it to other people, and they can also go to File and open the notebook that you have shared with them. Now, remember, it is not Excel. There might be some similarities between Excel and Python, but when you're learning Python, think of this as learning a completely new programming language. The first thing we do is to write print hello world. This is the first thing that we do when we're learning a programming language. To run it, I can click on the run arrow on the left side. And as you can see, it runs our first line of code, which is always an exciting thing. And we get hello world. Remember, if you're doing this on an Excel file, we can simply come to any cell and we can write equal to py. And then we say, let us say x is equal to print hello world. And then we press Control Enter. But first we press Shift Enter, we display X, and we press Control Enter to commit, to confirm this. And as you can see, on the right side, the Python editor will open and it shows you Hello World. That is how we do this on Excel. If you want to add any text, like a description or note, we can simply click on plus text and we can add any description here. You can also add images on it. You can upload images, add hyperlink, make it bold, italic, underline, bullet points, etc. The next thing we did was we generated code with Google Gemini. So we click on plus code. It adds another block. We go to generate with AI. And the prompt that I'm going to write is that we want to create a pie chart showing sales for bags, cosmetic, and shoes. So it writes the entire code for me. Remember that the green color is a comment. That means that this line will not be executed. And in codes, you will always find a lot of comment. This way, it is easier for you to remember what you did for your own reference. And also, it is an explanation to the other person when you're sending the code to them. The shortcut to toggle the comment would be Control slash. So if you notice, I can press Control slash to comment it and uncomment it. To run the code, we can simply run it. And as you can see, we get a pie chart. Now remember that it also keeps in mind your previous prompt. So now when I tell it, change this to a column chart in shades of blue. So I click on plus code. Oh, I'm sorry. Generate and run it. You will notice that it is now converting this into a column chart in shades of blue. Now, the next one I showed you was where we ask the user to enter an input. So now we're going to tell it, ask the user to select a number, and that number should come as a horizontal line on this chart. We again run it. Now we have to choose a number. I choose 30. Press enter, and you notice the line will come. If I run the code one more time and I put, let's say, 50, now you notice the line will give me 50. What if you want to change it? Let's say you want to make it 300. Remember, if you notice, it is asking me 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, but I can always change that to, let's say, comma 300. Again, run the code. Now this time we enter 300, and now you notice, oh, I'm sorry. It says that, oh, here, my mistake. This will be comma 300. And you notice now we get the line at 300. Now, I also told you, even though this is working, it is better that you write the entire code on ChatGPT and then you can copy it back. Why not use it directly with Gemini and Colab? See, the reason is that Colab Gemini integration is very new and it is very buggy. Plus, the level of control that you would have is better. So it's better to go to Gemini and copy back to Colab. You can use ChatGPT or Google Gemini. So what I'm going to do is I'll come back and I will say, write me a Python code for Google Colab. First, create a column chart with, we had selected, actually, I already have my prompt here. I'll just copy that. That will save us some time. Here we go. So we want a Python code for Google Colab. Ask the user to select a number from the dropdown, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Make a column chart with bags, cosmetic, and shoes with 50, 15, 35. Show the user selected value as a horizontal line, and anything above will be green and below will be red. Now, as you can see, it writes the complete Python code for you. I can simply copy this, come back, enter a new line of code, run it, and as you can see, we will discuss in the next session what these packages are because it is installing something. We haven't covered it yet. But as you can see, it is working perfectly. I can choose any number And as you can see, values above and below the number will come in different colors. And it just works beautifully. I also mentioned two people to you. One is Keyur Patel and the other is Sumit Gulwani. You should definitely follow them on LinkedIn. And the final example would be to tell you how to do this on Excel. So I will take the same three values. So we'll take item, bags, cosmetic, and shoes. Our values are 50, 15, and 35. So 50, 15, and 35. Is that right? 50, 15, and 35. That is my sales value. Okay, now if you think about it, you would feel that, but can't I just copy the code and it will work? But I've clearly mentioned that it might require some manual changes because the implementation that is there on Excel of Python is a little different, right? So it might not exactly work the same way. But I'm going to walk you through it. So I'm going to copy the entire code except this installation of library part. Also, why can we not ask ChatGPT to give me the Python code for Excel? Because it is so new. It just came out a few months back. So there isn't enough learning material available online to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of my code, starting from the import all the way till plt.show. We'll discuss this in more detail next time. I'll copy it. Now, the first thing I want to do is I want to take a data frame, which just means I want to save this data into a container, into some variable. So I will say equal to py, and we will say that my df is equal to this data. If you notice, it is smartly detecting that your data has headers in it. And if I press Shift Enter and press DF and Control Enter, you will notice that it is giving you the data frame. Now I can go to my formula bar. The shortcut, remember, is Control Shift and U. So I press Control Shift U, the formula bar becomes longer. And now I can paste my code. Now, if you look very carefully, I know it looks a little scary, but you don't have to be scared. Just watch very carefully. You will notice that it is assuming that the values are 50, 15, and 35. So it is plotting the chart on the basis of those values. But the thing is that our values are already there, isn't it? Our values are already saved in something called DF. That means I can come back to ChatGPT and I can tell it, hey, this is perfect. My values are already saved in DF. So what will it do? It will now rewrite the code for me. As you can see, it even explains to you that, okay, Havish, I'm assuming that you have already taken these three names and numbers and saved it in a data frame called DF. So now if you notice, it says replace this with your actual data frame, right? So I'm just going to copy this, come back and paste it. And if you notice, because my DF has already come from my cells C3 colon D6, in this case, I don't have to create the data frame because I already have my data frame. And now if you notice, I can delete this part. Let's run it. Remember, don't worry if it doesn't work properly. When you're coding, you have to get used to getting a lot of errors, but every error teaches you something, right? So I will press Control Enter. Now, in this case, you notice that it does give you an error. Now, let's try to understand what's happening. Why are we getting an error? Now, unfortunately, the error isn't very descriptive. It doesn't tell you what's happening, but it says no module named IPY widgets. So that's a good learning for you. Hey, there's something wrong with this module, which we will discuss in the next session. But I can just go back to ChatGPT and ask it, what if you don't have me? What if Havish is not there? How will you get the solution? You can say, hey, this module is not there. Now it tells me to install the module, but I want to tell it I am running this on Excel, so I cannot install the module. Because remember, not all modules can be installed on your Excel environment. They can be done on Google Colab, but not on Excel. So now if you notice, it says, ask the user to input the value in a named Excel cell. Example, selected value, right? So what this will do is you can enter a value and give it a name, right? Like this. But I'm going to make it even simpler for you. I will just copy this, come back to Excel, open our formula bar. And if you notice, we will try it one more time. Now, in this case, I don't want to have a selected value. I'll just say, let me give a number manually. Let's say 30. Let's see if it works. This time, if you notice, something did happen. I will click on this icon and I will say I want to display the plot over cells. And as you can see, we are able to get our result. Now think about it smartly. We are getting a perfect answer, but why are we giving the value 30 inside the code? Why not do one thing? Why not say that my selected value is actually equal to another cell? Let's just say that my cell is Excel and we are choosing the cell maybe C8 or D8. So I will say D8. See what's happening? Now in D8, if I write 15, look what happens. As I change that number in D8, you will notice that my results are also changing. So you will have to practice this quite a bit. But it's one of those things. The more you do it, the better you will get at it. And of course, I'm here with you on this journey. Plus, you have your dear friend ChatGPT and Gemini. But don't worry. A lot of people, in my experience, give up on Python because first day is very exciting. Then they encounter some error and they just give it up. Just don't stop. Just continue learning. Let there be 50 mistakes. Because if you're able to cross those 50 mistakes, then the job is done. And the learning of Python, remember, is one of the most important skills of the future. That is why all of us are investing time and energy in it. And like I said, I'm with you on this journey. So all the very best, and I'll see you for the next session.